The city of Palermo was founded in 734 BC by the Phoenicians. It is over 2,700 years old and has been called the most conquered city in the world. The city has been ruled by Phoenicians, Greeks, Carthaginians, Romans, Byzantines, Arabs, Normans, and pretty much everybody else around the Mediterranean, and they've all left their marks on the city structure. There were two rivers that used to actually run through the city, but as the city grew, they kind of built their city on top of these rivers. The rivers still flow, but now they flow underneath the city. This is Palermo Cathedral. There's an entire video on the cathedral, so I won't take too much time here. But across the street from the cathedral, there's a lot of shops and some really good restaurants. And at night, it's a nice place to actually go and see. We actually got here a few days before the Rick Steves tour, and we actually were glad we did because we got a chance to go down a lot of the side alley places and see some places that are behind buildings that we would not have seen during the tour. Palermo is actually a gritty city, not glitzy, but gritty. But it has an old world charm that it's hard to explain. But then again, when you're a tourist, everything seems great. This is San Cataldo Church. There are better explanations about the churches in other videos, but there are actually three major churches right in this same square, and it's definitely worth going to. This is the Teatro Massimo Opera House, if I'm saying it right. There are two main opera houses in Palermo that'll be better explained in another video, but this is the larger of them. There's really no way to describe these places. You really have to go see them. They are magnificent, and being a musician, seeing these stages and thinking of the composers and the performers that were here was for me as much of a religious experience as any house of worship that I have ever been in. In 1864, the municipality of Palermo launched an international competition for the construction of this monumental opera house. This is the Piazza Pretoria, and it has a strange story because it's known as the Square of Shame. Evidently, there's a nunnery that is to one side of this particular piazza, and the sculptor decided he wanted to sort of not make it very nunnish. So this is what he did. I'm sure they were thrilled when they got up in the morning. This is the Quattro Canti, or Four Corners, and it's a square that stands at the intersection of two of the most prominent streets in Palermo. It's a Baroque square formed in an octagon and is known officially as Villena Square to honor the Spanish viceroy who commissioned this construction in 1609. Now, it has fountains on each corner, and then above the fountains you will see four statues that depict the four seasons. Then above that you see four statues that are different sovereigns. Now, these sovereigns are not Italian or Sicilian. They're actually Spanish sovereigns because at the time this was built, Spain was ruling Palermo. And this is actually a great landmark if you begin to get disoriented, because as you come down main streets, you'll pop right into the middle of this. The Teatro Palatino is also an opera house, and it's the second most important theater of the city after the Massimo. In 1865, an internal competition for the construction of a multi-purpose theater was done, and this is the result of that. And it has an amazing stage. You can not only go inside, but you get to go upstairs and then outside on the balconies, and you get to see the large sculpture that's on the top of the building. When you go up there, you actually get a great view of that central area of the city. There's a huge park that is situated right in between the old city and the new residential area. It's really nice, really old, and just got a lot of people in it. This is a spooky building right next to my favorite coffee shop. Looks like something that the Munsters would have lived in. These are views from the rooftops. As I had said before, Palermo is an extremely unique city. It welcomes you and warns you all at the same time. It says, "Here I am. I didn't pretty myself up for you tourists. I am what I am. If you don't like me the way I am, then leave. I didn't invite you here anyway." But this is a great city, and I would definitely go again. It's the type of city you can walk down an alley that is messy and lined with graffiti and looks like it probably did during the war. And just one street over is a world-class example of Baroque or Norman or Muslim architecture, and sometimes a combination of all three. You can go from a high-class shopping to the inside of a post office that looks like it did in the 1930s. At 2,700 years old, Palermo can have whatever kind of attitude it wants to. We always stay in the older sections of places we go to. I think they're way more interesting. As you get into higher elevations, like on top of buildings, your hotel, or the churches, you look around the outskirts of Palermo and you can see that the city is surrounded by mountains. Many scenes from the Godfather series were shot around here, and you can actually take tours to see the sights. Nighttime in Palermo is a really unique experience. They shut down an entire stretch of the center of the city to vehicles and it becomes one long walking street. People are just out having a good time, eating, hanging around, drinking, smoking, because they still smoke heavily here. And it's all ages, so no matter how old you are, you do not feel out of place.